Most of the Meta ads advice on YouTube is for $1,000, $5,000, or even $10,000 a day in ad spend. And if you're a small local business with only $100 a day to spend, that advice will not work for you. I'm going to show you the framework that we use to make $100 a day generate real business results. My name is Braden Pauls. I run Acquirely Co with my cousin Ethan. And this year we've done over $1 million in client generated revenue through Meta. And using this exact framework, we've been able to get those clients results on a consistent basis. Our end goal is to build a brand that helps people with real skills build and scale their own businesses, and we're starting that journey through running advertisements. We work with all kind of local service businesses, from contractors, plumbers, to coaches, dog trainers, salons, you name it. This framework works, and that's what we're going to be walking you through today. And here's the thing that most people don't say out loud, is that most of YouTube is built for these big budgets, people running 10 campaigns a day, hundreds of creatives, and that just doesn't work for a small business that has limited time to test a bunch of creatives and just can't sit in Ads Manager all day long, let alone have the big spending needed to make something like that work. So when you try to follow that advice, your ads bomb, you lose money, and you walk away thinking that Meta doesn't work for your business. But the truth is that it does work. It's just the advice wasn't meant for you. Oh, and one last thing, I'm going to assume that you already have a Facebook business page made and an ad account. If you don't, hit pause and check out one of the amazing videos on YouTube that teach you exactly how to do that. I figure our time is better spent thinking strategy than showing you what buttons to click. In 2026, Meta has made it very easy to launch your first ad campaign. At the end of this video, I'm going to be showing you the exact structure that we use to launch our campaigns for every new client. So stick around to the end if you want to see that. For now, let's get into the framework. Okay, so introducing the ACQ method. It's a 3-step framework that we use at Acquirely for planning campaigns when we're working with a low budget, and it stands for audience, creative, and qualify. And it's basically the 3 steps that we walk through before launching every single campaign. Step 1 is audience and offers. And yes, I know I tacked on offers, but it's for good reason. And at the end of this section, you'll know exactly why. So the audience is one of the first things that you need to get right, or everything else does not matter. A quick note on how targeting works in 2026. Last year, Meta rolled out something called Andromeda, which is basically a big change on how the algorithm picks who to show your ads to. So what this means for your ads is that a creative does most of the targeting now, so you don't have to spend a bunch of time picking the perfect audience in a way that people used to teach. That said, we still can't do anything else in the campaign until we're clear on who we're actually trying to reach. So here's an example for why that's important. Imagine you spent 100 hours developing this lecture that you were going to teach, and the visuals were perfect, the content is easy to understand, and it's super engaging. And then you show up to the lecture hall and it's full of kindergartners. But you were expecting university students, so now this doesn't make any sense. They're not going to understand anything, and none of it matters. So how do we get clear on who this actually is? We're trying to figure out your ICP, which is your ideal customer profile. And it's essentially the person that if you had to pick one person to work with the rest of your life that had 0 headaches, had 0 questions, was just ready to give you all their money, who would they be? Describe them. That's exactly what we're going to be doing next. Now, when I do this for a client, I'm not just trying to fill out a spreadsheet with a bunch of demographics. I'm trying to picture one real specific person. So not homeowners between 35 and 65, more like Steve, the guy whose deck is rotting and who's already called 2 contractors that ghosted him and never did the job right. That's the person that you want to target. So to get your version of Steve, you're going to ask yourself 3 questions. First question is, who's already buying from you? Pull up your last handful of customers, pick your favorite 3, find out what they have in common, not just where they live or what they like, but you're trying to figure out what they were feeling or what they were dealing with when they actually decided to purchase from you. The second question is, what made them reach out the day they did? Something specific in their life might have pushed them to take action. Like a leak got bigger, a landscaping job from last year started to look rough, the dog chewed up another shoe, they were feeling overweight and they needed weight loss. It doesn't matter what it was, but whatever it was, the moment is exactly what you need to speak to. The third question, and arguably the most useful one, is what have they already tried that didn't work? This is gold because it tells you exactly what they're afraid of, but it also tells you exactly what they were already willing to buy. So now all you have to do is figure out how do you differentiate from the people that they've dealt with in the past and what they've already been let down by. Now, for some businesses, this whole exercise is super simple. Like, for example, if you're a roofer, You're going to be dealing with something like homeowner has a leak. The leak got worse. They called another roofer who never showed up. You're not going to need a 6-paragraph persona to figure out what type of person you're actually speaking to. But there might be another type of business that deals with the more emotional buyer. So, for example, we started running ads for a dog trainer just earlier this year. And if I had to describe her ideal customer to my editor before he made a video, I wouldn't say woman 25 to 50 owns a dog. That just really tells me nothing about the person other than facts. I'd say someone who loves their dog but feels guilty that the behavior isn't where they want it to be. And they've already tried YouTube videos and a basic obedience class that didn't stick. And now they just need something that fits into their busy day. That's a much more articulate picture that an editor can follow and that you can understand when you're actually trying to make creatives for your advertisement. So decide how deep you need to go based on your business, but don't force yourself to go deep because you think you need to. Sometimes it's as simple as the roofing example. Now that we know who we're selling to, we need to make an offer that can actually attract them. Most people's services are okay as a base level offer, but you actually need an offer that stops the scroll and gets people to take action on your ad. In Alex Hormozi's words, you need something that is so good that people feel stupid saying no about. And in simple terms, it's something that gives the client more perceived value than what they're actually paying for. Now, this looks different in every business, but the easiest way for me to show you is with real examples. The first one is a home service business we work with, and their main product or service is polymeric sanding and sealing, which goes for about $3,000 a job. Now, we added free window cleaning, which they already offer, to every polymeric sealing booking. And the window cleaning cost about $225-ish in labor to actually deliver. But to the customer, it feels huge because it's a service they'd normally pay a lot extra for. The margin still hits, and the offer reads free window cleaning with every polymeric sanding and sealing job, which sells way better than a 10% off, 20% off ever did. The second example is a painting client that we work with. And for the sake of this example, we're going to call them paint masters. We built a limited time scarce offer around 25 physical rewards cards that each give the customer 25% off an interior painting service, usable for the next 12 months and only earned by booking an exterior service before August 31st. This one's a little more advanced because it does a few things at the same time. It has scarcity because there's only 25 cards available. It also has urgency because there's a deadline on both earning the card and redeeming the card. It has real value built into the discount on a service that they're already going to want later, which feels like a win to them. Lastly, it's also a retention play because once they book that exterior job the first time, they have 12 months to book the interior project with us, already at a discount, and it reduces price shopping because what's the point of going to someone else if you already know these people do a good job and you get 25% off? So that alone increases lifetime value, and that was the whole idea behind this offer. Now, something to consider here is how we actually price these offers. So when you're building an offer, you want to think about two numbers: what it actually costs you to deliver the thing and what you normally charge a customer for it. What the customer pays is the perceived value that we talked about earlier, and what you spend to provide it is the actual cost to your business. For example, a service that costs you $100 to deliver might be something you'd normally sell for $500. And say you bundle that with a different service that you normally sell for $1,000, you'd price the bundle at $1,100, just enough to cover the cost of throwing the extra bonus in. The customer looks at it and sees $1,500 worth of stuff for $1,100. They feel like they got $400 in free value, and you look at it and realize you're still making your full margin on the service and you're not losing a single dollar on the bonus because they're paying you what it costs you to deliver. And that's the best part of offers, is that you can get creative on the pricing so that it's better for both the customer and the business. I'll make another video on offers in the future because this is a super deep topic, but for now, I think that illustrates the point. Step 2 is the creative. This is probably one of the most important parts for Meta because the creative in 2026 is what does most of the work when it comes to actually telling people about your business. The better the creative, the more engaging it is, and the cheaper it ends up being to show it to more people. Meta uses a metric called a CPM, which is cost per 1,000 views, which is essentially how much it costs you to show it to 1,000 eyes. The lower the CPM, the more eyeballs you'll be able to get to your video with the same budget, so creative matters a lot. It's also what the algorithm uses to actually figure out who to show your ad to in the first place. Meta looks at the words in your ad, the visuals, the context, the engagement to decide who the next person is that gets to see your ad. So the more engagement and the more you have your ICP locked in on your creatives, the better chance you'll have at putting it in front of the right people. Now, a quick note on format is that you can get away with using just image ads, but here's an example of a video we scripted for a client that they filmed and then we edited.
Here's how we've been helping out the berry community over the years. We start by power washing all the old dirt, sand, and weeds from in between your patio stones.
Now, it's nothing crazy and the edits aren't insane, but videos work better than images in today's advertising world, at least for local service-based businesses. We do still recommend images, but we like to use those as a secondary bonus to the video. You're probably wondering, how do I make a good creative? So this is kind of what we tell our clients. You need high quality image. No, you don't need a massive camera rig. Your iPhone will do the job. Just make sure you've got good lighting, you're not filming in a dark room, and the subject stays in the middle of the frame. Clear audio is also incredibly important, so invest in a Bluetooth mic similar to this one. It's a great investment and they're not too expensive. Last thing is you need to talk like you actually own the business. Too many times I've seen business owners film their own videos where they're talking like this, like they don't actually really care about their business, and it makes no sense because this is your livelihood. So practice in front of the camera. I know it's difficult, but get a few reps in and just be excited about it. This is what should excite you. This is your livelihood. And as for the script itself, it does not have to be complicated. Say who it's for, what you offer, how you're going to help them and why it works, and then ask for the sale in a very simple call to action, like click the link below to get this offer. And make more creatives than you think you need. You probably won't hit the jackpot right away, but the more options you have to test, the more likely you have at finding a winner. Oh, and one last thing, if you've never advertised your business before, the biggest lever that you can pull is just telling more people about your stuff. So don't overthink this process, just get ads out there. You will get some conversions and you're gonna get better at the process. Step 3 is to qualify. This is the simplest way to qualify leads on Meta, and it's to use a Facebook lead form. A lead form is just a built-in form inside the ad itself. Somebody clicks on the ad, the form pops up, they fill it out, and you get their info. There's way less friction than actually sending them to a website, and it's especially good for people who have never even made a website. The biggest thing to understand here is the concept of friction. The more friction you have, meaning the more questions you ask, and the more steps it takes from somebody to go from interested to giving you their information, the less likely they are to convert. But the people who do finish are way more likely to actually become leads. So the game is to just find the right balance, enough friction that the leads are real, but not too much friction where you're actually not getting any leads at all. And there's no magic formula to this, at least not one that I could actually fit in this video. But typically we'll use about 3 qualifying questions and then ask for the phone, name, and email. And one thing to be careful of is to not ask for too much sensitive information over a form, because even if you have a very high intent lead, someone who really wants to work with you, they won't because you asked for their address on the lead form. Now, once leads start coming in, you're gonna need to actually manage them somewhere so they don't just get forgotten. Meta has a built-in tool called Lead Center where you can actually mark leads as qualified or converted, and that data gets sent right back to your ads to help the algorithm find more people like them. Or you can use a CRM, a customer relationship management tool, to keep everything in one place. The one we use for our clients is called GoHighLevel. GoHighLevel lets you manage your pipeline, run automatic follow-up and text emails, and notify you the second a lead comes in, which is huge because the faster you can call a lead, the more likely they are to book with you. Imagine this, your lead is sitting there on their phone, they just click the submit button, and within 2 seconds, you're already on the phone with them because you got a notification, and now you're communicating with a customer that's far more likely to buy with you because you actually followed up with them quickly. Now, this is a bit more advanced than the built-in Meta Lead Center, but it pays off super quickly, and it has so many more features that we've never even touched on. So if you want us to make a video on GoHighLevel and all of the ways that we actually use it in our business, we'd be happy to do so. We do actually have an affiliate link in the description below. Full transparency, we do get a small commission when you sign up through it. If you like this video so far and you want to support the AcquireLevel Academy, feel free to click that link and purchase through there. If not, also no worries. We use this software, we love it, so we figured we'd suggest it to you. All right, last thing. Let me walk you through how we actually structure the ad account itself. We run one campaign and we use what's called a CBO, Campaign Budget Optimization. Don't worry about the name. It just means you set the total budget at the campaign level and Meta automatically pushes that money towards whichever ads are performing best. Inside that campaign, we run one ad set, and an ad set is just a container that holds all your ads together. So inside this ad set, we use broad targeting, which means we let Meta decide who to show the ads to based on our creatives, with the only filters being suggested are age range and a location lock if you can only serve a specific area. Then we make about 10 to 15 creatives, a mix of image and video ads, leaning heavily towards more videos, and then we put them all inside that one ad set. Meta's AI then figures out exactly which ads it thinks will work best and automatically pushes more budget towards those. This means that you don't have to babysit your campaign as much, and you can still trust that your spend is going to the strongest ads. And once you find a few clear winners, you can turn off the rest of the ads so that the budget only goes towards your best performers. Then you make a brand new ad set inside that actual campaign, and you add a few more creatives to test, and you rinse and repeat. And because we're using a CBO, if the new ad set has creatives that beat the originals, Meta will automatically shift the budget over to those ones. It's a pretty simple approach, still needs some maintenance, but overall it gets the job done. One thing to remember at this spend level is that depending on your cost per result or cost per lead, you're going to have some inconsistencies from a day-to-day basis. So make sure you're looking at your ads over the span of a week, 2 weeks, or even a month to make sure things are working rather than looking at a day-to-day, so that you're not making changes to things that are actually working that just had a slower day. And there you have it. You're now equipped to run your own low budget meta ads campaign for your local service-based business. If you have any other questions about advertising or business and you want to see us make a video about them, leave a comment below. And if you want to follow along on our journey to help skilled people start and scale their own businesses, subscribe to GoHighLevel Academy below, and we'll see you in the next one.